Good morning. Good morning. Good, it is working. Thank you all for joining us today as we gather to honor the brave first responders of September 11th, 2001, but also those of you who continue to selflessly answer the call today to become a first responder. Our police officers, firefighters, paramedics, and nurses embody the highest ideals of service and sacrifice and remind us of the strength of the human spirit and the power of community. If you are currently serving as a first responder, or you're in training to become a first responder, will you please stand? Please accept our gratitude for the sacrifices you have made and will make in the service of your community. Will everyone else also please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the national anthem. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Lindsay, for that beautiful rendition. Truly appreciate it. Good afternoon, students, staff, faculty, and esteemed guests. My name is Ivy Hoke, and after dedicating 27 years to the Air Force, I now serve as the academic advisor in the Office of Veteran Success here at COM. It is my distinct pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. When it came time to select someone to represent us at this ceremony, one individual immediately came to mind, someone who truly embodies the spirit of patriotism. He is not only a Navy veteran and a COM alum, but also a dedicated community leader with an impressive list of accolades. As a former city councilman and tireless advocate for veterans, he has utilized his skills to make significant impact in our community. Currently, he is the founder and president of a local veteran nonprofit organization where his contributions are nothing short of exemplary. I often refer to his work as yeoman's work, given his remarkable dedication and sacrifice of time and energy for God, country, and family. He is not just a friend, but a brother, and it's an honor to have him here with us today. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Fidencio Leja Jr.
Do we have any additional veterans in the audience right now that may have served our country? honorably. I know that I did see Sparky Corner. Please stand. Our veterans, including Mr. Ivy Hope. Let's give these individuals a big round of applause. Thank you. Today we honor and remember the brave Americans that had to endure the terrors of 9/11 on our country. A horrific act that attempted to break the fabric and the spirit of our country, that took lives, and today, to this day, Americans still remember 9/11. How many of you here still remember where you were at on that day? I still remember myself because I remember being recalled, joined a force protection unit, and was sent abroad to make sure that all of our bases were defended because we did not know what was going to happen next. This was a horrific act on our country. The families, the communities, our children, many of them today still do not have their father or their mother because they were lost in 3 treacherous attacks. Many of us remember the Twin Towers, but that was just one incident. If you allow me just a few minutes to remind you of that day in order for us to provide them a moment of remembrance and a moment of honoring those individual lives on that specific day. September 11th, 2001, at 5:45 a.m., 2 of the intended hijackers passed through security at the Portland International Airport in Maine. They boarded a commute flight to Boston Logan International Airport, then they boarded American Flight 11. At 7:59 a.m., Flight 11 takes off from Boston, headed for Los Angeles, California. There are 76 passengers, 11 crew members, and 5 hijackers on board. At 8:15 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175 takes off from Boston, also headed for Los Angeles. There are 51 passengers, 9 crew members, and 5 hijackers on board. At 8:19 a.m., a flight attendant on Flight 11 alerts ground personnel that a hijacking is underway and the cockpit is unreachable. At 8:20 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 takes off from Dallas, outside of Washington, D.C., headed for Los Angeles. There are 53 passengers, 6 crew members, and 5 hijackers on board. At 8:24 a.m., a hijacker on Flight 11 unintentionally alerts air controllers in Boston to the attack. He meant to press the button that allowed him to talk to the passengers on the flight. At 8:37 a.m., after hearing the broadcast on Flight 11, Boston Air Traffic Control alerts the U.S. Air Force, who then mobilizes the Air National Guard to follow the plane. At 8:42 a.m., United Flight 93 takes off from Newark, New Jersey after a delay due to a routine traffic. It was headed to San Francisco, California. There are 33 passengers, 7 crew members, and 4 hijackers on board. At 9:03 a.m., Flight 175 crashes into the World Trade Center, South Tower. All passengers aboard are killed instantly, and so are unknown number of people in the tower. At 9:05 a.m., President George W. Bush is at a classroom at an elementary school in Florida, and he is informed about the hit on the second tower. At 9:28 a.m., hijackers attack on Flight 93. At 9:37 a.m., Flight 77 crashes into the Pentagon. All passengers on board are instantly killed, and so are 125 civilians and military personnel in the building. At 9:57 a.m., passengers aboard Flight 93 begin to run up toward the cockpit. The pilot begins to roll the plane back and forth in an attempt to destabilize the revolt. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower of the World Trade Center collapses. At 10:02 a.m., Flight 93 plows into an empty field in Pennsylvania. Although its ultimate target is unknown, it was likely heading for either the White House or the U.S. Capitol. At 10:28 a.m., the North Tower of the World Trade Center collapses. At 12:15 p.m., airspace in the United States is completely free of all commercial and private flights. Finally, at 3 p.m., Air Force One lands outside of Air Force Base in Nebraska, and President Bush is immediately taken to secure bunker that is capable of withstanding a nuclear attack. At 5:30 p.m., Building 7 of the World Trade Center collapses. At 8:30 p.m. that night, our president, President Bush, addresses the nation. Today is a somber time and a somber moment because these individuals that are wearing these uniforms, like these two individuals right over here to the right of me, these police officers, individuals that are back there training to be police officers, firefighters, EMT, nurses, rushed into this burning building fueled with jet fuel to save their fellow Americans. This is one of the darkest hours of our nation, 9/11 in 2001. There was men and women in uniform, like Ivy Hoke and myself, that were deployed across domestically and internationally to foreign lands to ensure that we would not turn our backs on those individuals that lost their life on 9/11. This is a moment for us to remember those individuals that lost their lives, and the children and the wives and the husbands that no longer have their loved ones because of this treacherous attack on the Pentagon, on our towers, and on Flight 93 that crashed into Pennsylvania. But there was heroes that started and became that day. Those that rushed into the building, those that decided to raise their hand and become part of our United States military to protect us domestically and then abroad. And for those like those young men back there that are putting on the uniform and training to make sure that our communities are safe moving forward. Now, I would like to end with this quote. Even the smallest acts of service, the simplest acts of kindness, is a way to honor those we lost, a way to reclaim the spirit of unity that what makes America what it is today great. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm trying to get my composure here. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce a remarkable individual who truly needs no introduction. With over 40 years of dedicated service here at COM, Mr. Sparky Kerner has been a pillar of our academic community. His role as an adjunct professor, chairman, and director have left an indelible mark on this institution. Please join me in warmly welcoming today's trumpeter, Mr. Sparky. Many of you are not yet born or were very young when this tragedy occurred 23 years ago. As future first responders, it is important for you to remember and reflect on those significant events. Thank you all for attending today's ceremony. We invite you to join us at the Veterans Office in the Admin Building for a light snack and refreshments. Thank you all.